Welcome to Focus on the Candidates. My name is Cynthia Pooler, and my guest today is Patrick Harris Sr. And Patrick is going to talk about Cap the Cap. So, Patrick, did you come up with this idea by yourself?
I would say yes, but I do give credit to divine grace. So I didn't go to school to be an economist. I got an MBA. I didn't spend a life working in economics, never was really that interested in it. I was in healthcare and I was an innovator. Um, but seeing what's going on and how desperate people have become, I took my innovative mind and I started doing independent research and looking into different economic systems to determine what the root cause of failure and civil unrest is and what's causing our division. Economics is the central social science. It influences everything from how much money you put into research to the quality education you get to healthcare, just
Mm-hmm.
to just putting food on the table.
So,
So I created this cap the cap, which the technical term is capitated capitalism, but I created it specifically to strengthen capitalism by ensuring capital flows every year rather than it being hoarded, which will lift everyone up. It takes the idea of trickle down, which has been a failed hypothesis and an accidental law to ensure that the benefits are reaped by the nation.
what you say people are desperate. How do you see it being manifested?
I see a lot of civil unrest starting. There are many people showing up to that fighting oligarchy tour. We've seen a lot of, rioting. They're in despair. Look at the younger generation. They don't see the American dream as within reach anymore. There's no motivation for them to excel. Our current system and the actors within it that hoard wealth have created an environment, a society where no people don't want to step up and excel anymore. So we need to restore hope. And to do that, you need to have money flowing. Because when money flows, people can make a livable wage. Consider the Walton family by way of example,
Okay.
right? Sam Walton built Walmart. The Walton family is now the wealthiest family in the world.
Mm.
Yet, most people that work at Walmart can't afford to live on a single income household. Many of them rely on government assistance, which is the taxes you and I pay to be
Mhm.
able to get either food or medicine or anything else. We went through this in the Gilded Age during the Industrial Revolution, and we're going through it again. This is very predictable in history. Until there is an upper limit forcing people to recycle the capital back into the economy, there'll continue to be a race to the top when there is no top. And that leaves everyone else behind, suffering and potentially dying.
So you ran for the in this special election in Arizona.
Yes.
How did you do?
I didn't really pay attention. I think I got 1 or 2% of the votes. I
Okay.
never set out to win the election. So what happened is I had an insight into how to fix capitalism's greatest flaw, which is wealth hoarding. I created the mechanism and wrote the legislation, which is the 28th Amendment. You can find it on capthecap.com. I'll break it down very simply. When you set a individual wealth cap, and I'm proposing $1 billion, anytime somebody exceeds that cap, they have to take the excess wealth above a billion and they get one tax year to spend it however they want. They can donate to their church, fund college education, hospitals, rebuild roads, gift it to their family members, whatever the case is. But as long as the capital continues to circulate, that's when you can start taxing it under the 16th Amendment, helping alleviate a lot of the burden carried by the taxation of working families. The reason I ran in this election was because I finished my manuscript and got it copywritten. in March of this year. And then Congressman Grijalva passed away. And it occurred to me after much prayer, meditation, and speaking to the people that I knew that if I were to raise awareness of this new to the world economic framework, I needed a platform to do so. So I ran for office. But as I said, I never had any intention of winning. My sole purpose was to raise awareness. I live in North Scottsdale.
Mhm.
The seventh district incorporates Yuma, South Tucson, several other areas. If you're familiar with Arizona, not many people would want to move from North Scottsdale to the seventh district. I didn't raise any money. I didn't ask for any donations. I accepted no endorsements. I had no name recognition, and I ran out of district, and I was the only Democrat that did that. And the pure purpose was to tell the Democratic Party and the Republican Party this is a new platform that you can stand on to help America and over 300 million Americans. Um, so it's out there. The Republican and the Democratic Party cannot deny knowledge that
Mhm.
this is out there now, that the legislation is already written. The question is when will they step up and champion it to represent the best interest of America?
When you talk about um regular people not having a lot of money and those on top have tons of money,
Mm-hmm,
what I see
mm-hmm,
is the military industrial complex.
mm-hmm.
There's trillions of dollars, maybe billions, maybe trillions, that go into the war machine. What do you say about that?
I'd have to take a look at it a little deeper, to be honest with you. My
Okay.
focus has been trying to look at national policy to lift everyone up. As it relates to military industrial complex and war in general,
Yes.
capitated capitalism is by design anti-war. Part of the cap to cap proposal includes building an international capitated capitalism bloc where member nations come together and share information to ensure that wealth flight and offshore accounts are accounted for properly. That way, the billionaires can reinvest within the bloc.
Mhm.
Trade historically is much better than war. When there is war, there is no trade. One of the best ways throughout all of recorded human history to avoid conflict is to improve trade. So that's what capitated capitalism bloc is intended to do.
The it seems as though, I grew up as a Democrat from New York,
Okay.
but you know, the Democrats have turned into the war party. There's some they they espouse they espouse
Mhm.
permanent war, you know, and
Mm.
there's got to be a different way because we are on the brink of destroying this whole planet.
I would agree with you that we're close to a tipping point. Um, but I want to restore hope in you, Cynthia. There's an 80-year cycle. 80 years ago, we were a very deeply divided country, and we dropped a bomb and we united. 80 years before that, we were a deeply divided country. We shot each other in a civil war and we came together. 80 years before that, we weren't even really a country. We threw perfectly good tea off of a boat into the water and we came together. Right now, we are at that point where we're so divided, the only logical conclusion is to come together. The
Mhm.
question is how do we come together? And I believe that is finding a policy that everyone can agree on. Cap the Cap focuses on billionaires, which is only 900 now in the US, but over 330 million US citizens to improve the life of 330 million US citizens by having the billionaire class say we can govern ourselves, we'll be governed at $1 billion, is a uniting platform.
Okay. But I wasn't born, but in my opinion, 1945 was the uh, line drawn in the sand.
Mhm.
Before August 6th, 1945, there could be a zillion wars in this country, but there was never one weapon that could destroy this whole planet immediately. And that's what I'm so fearful of. Instead of countries investing in infrastructure in America, in education, in healthcare, in nutrition for children, they're building bombs. They're building bombs to kill each other. And eventually, I think the wrong bomb will get into the hands of the wrong person. And that's it. We're all gone.
I hope not. And I will pray that's not the case. All I can do, all any of us can do, is try to bring together people to promote peace and trade over war and conflict. And that's our job to do that. So, and it should be our elected leaders' job. But right now, they're spending too much time fighting each other. Every time I go to social media, I see a politician saying, I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight. Let's be honest. Every minute they do that and they say they're going to fight is a 1 minute they're not working on solutions. And the more they fight, the more divided they become, making it harder to work on solutions. So, my message to leadership across the nation on both parties is it's time to grow up and work on a policy to represent the best interests of the voters.
So, so how long have you been espousing cap to cap?
Since April, I had to do quite a bit of research, on my own because again, I didn't go to school for economics. But
Uh-huh.
I'm a pretty quick study, as you can probably tell from some of the plaques behind me. I finished my manuscript February this year. I filed for copyright March 5th, which copyright was issued. I built an AI, and then once I decided to enter the race in Arizona's 7th congressional district, that's when I started publicly promoting it. So just a few
Okay.
months, um,
Okay.
but there's been a lot of really positive feedback and people across the nation and internationally that are agreeing that this is the right evolution for capitalism to improve upon it and superior than to socialism.
So what politicians have you been in contact with?
I've reached out to many, and my experience with them is they are non-responsive. So I
Okay.
contacted Senator Sanders multiple times, Rep. AOC multiple times, my
Mhm.
own senators, Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego, they're silent on it. My own Congressman, David Schweikert, multiple times, who I've actually worked with, and he co-sponsored a bill, the Alert Act of 2019, that I worked on with him. So there's a lot of politicians right now that I have tons that I have reached out to. None of them have responded. My assumption is they lack the courage to take on the billionaire class with real legislation. It's one thing to get up there and say, oh, bad billionaire, like Sanders and AOC are doing. It's
Mhm.
another thing to put forward real legislation. And I think they're cowards.
Yeah, because if they did introduce real legislation, that would step on the toes of the donor class who give them money to run again.
Right. And the real legislation is already written. It's one page. It's on capthecap.com. You can read it, and it is real. It just needs sponsors. Now, these politicians that I've named off and many, many others, they're intelligent. So they know what this is. It's not that they're too stupid to see it. They're smart.
Hmm.
But intelligence alone doesn't mean they're representing the best interests of their constituents. If
Right,
you're in a
exactly.
district with 800,000 voters and two billionaires, they're going to get more money from those two billionaires. That is not just a lack of courage, but it is corruption. I'm looking forward to a politician in office with integrity and courage to put the 28th Amendment on the floor and champion capitated capitalism. Because when that happens, the dominoes start to fall, the people start to see there's a real solution, and it gets enacted into law.
Hmm. So you are contacting politicians to bring legislation in the House, then is uh, right now, is that how you're handling it?
Currently, that's what I'm doing is reaching out. And it's not just politicians. Yes, it needs to be introduced to Congress. But
Right.
I'm also reaching out to economics professors and other notable people. Just Friday, I reached out to an economics professor that won last year's Nobel Prize. So I'm waiting for our better angels, the intelligent people, those with platforms, to recognize this is what has to happen. Because if it doesn't, history will repeat. Rome collapsed because of wealth hoarding. France had a revolution because of wealth hoarding. Russia because of wealth hoarding. Country after country after country. And if we don't address the root cause of civil unrest and national collapse, which is wealth hoarding, we will repeat mistakes of the past.
So how can people reach you?
Go to capthecap.com. Please sign the online petition because the more signatures that are collected, the more we can tell politicians the people are supporting this, and you better too if you want to keep your seat. And of course, on capthecap.com, you can follow through the links. Another thing is capthecap.com on the front page at the top has this little button. It says Ask the AI. I mentioned my manuscript that I published in Copywritten. I had thought about selling my book to make money, but this idea is so powerful, I don't want to create a cost barrier for people to understand it. So I uploaded my manuscript into an AI for ChatGPT. If you have a ChatGPT account, you can click on that Ask the AI, and ChatGPT is free, and you can ask the AI about capitated capitalism, about Cap the Cap. You can make it personalized to you. How will it benefit you? You can ask, how does this unite the parties? Why would Republicans support this? Why would Democrats support this, etc.? And it will interrogate and read through my manuscript and answer all of your questions.
Very interesting. So do you plan on running for office again, do you think?
I've been thinking about it. Again,
Okay.
the first time I ran for office, the goal was to put a platform out there and to try to get people to stop fighting and start working on solutions. But the more I pray on it, I ask myself, if I want to shepherd this through, and if we want it done correct so it's not perverted, you need a visionary, the visionary. You need the architect to make sure that it doesn't get corrupted in the wrong hands, intentionally or accidentally. Because there are well-meaning people in Congress that might say, oh, we know what to do. But if
Hmm.
they knew what to do, they would have already done it.
Right. Right.
So there's a lot of me that's thinking I may have a duty to run again, and to go up to the Hill and to build a coalition and a committee to push this forward. But that will be up to the people, of course. If they would like to motivate me to run, next time I won't run a zero budget. I will need money. I will need donations. And they can go from cap to cap and click through to my congressional website and make donations if they would like. And if I have enough support from the people, they can vote me out of retirement and into office.
Great. So, Patrick, I think your concept is really interesting, and I'd like to stay in contact with you. Would you like to do more shows with me as I progress with my new channel?
I'd love to. I know that you're reaching out to candidates and those who have run. If those people express interest in cap to cap, either as an advocate or running on a platform of cap to cap, I am happy to help your contacts out and even join them on one of your podcasts to discuss any of the objections that they face, and I can arm them with the arguments to push it forward.
Great. So, Patrick, we'll talk again. You've been listening to Focus on the Candidates. I'm Cynthia Pooler. We've been listening to Patrick Harris, and we'll talk again. So, thank you, Patrick. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a great day.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, everyone.